The views expressed by our guests in the following video are solely the opinions of our guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and or opinions of the Ola 7 podcast show. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the Sportlight with Yvonne, Mangunda, and as usual we bring you a big sporting personality to talk about their journey, where they've been, where they see themselves in the future, and what is currently happening in their sporting career. And today is no different. I bring you a big sporting personality. Not only was he big as a player, but currently he is the team manager of one of the biggest teams in Zimbabwe. I'm talking about United Team Manager Limited Chikafa. Limited, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Yvonne.
It's so nice to have you here. It's so nice to hang out.
Sure. Nice.
Is it a good time right now at Cape United? What's the vibe? Because that's what I'm
Well, yeah, it's a time of mixed feelings. The team, failing here and there. We are trying, but consistency has not been there. But in some points of time, we are picking some points, few points, and especially away from home. I think we have got a better record as to comparing to playing at Rufaro or something. But I think where we are right now, I think maybe we are in the right direction. Right direction.
Hopefully, Cape United don't see themselves in the relegation zone, because it's been one of those seasons, right, where you have like my teams total are at risk because the difference in my teams are in bottom 10 is very, very small.
Yeah, you can say that again. We are not pretty safe, from relegation, but I think when you are working, you need to have targets at the end of the day. I think as of now, the target is to reach 40 points. And I think we are 9 points away, which is 3 games out of 8. So we are still within the touching distance. But, it also comes down on the issue of the teams, how they are doing. Well, when they keep on winning, we need also to surpass the 40-point mark, which is also a tall order. But, given our fixtures, right, the remaining 8, when you look around, you ponder around, see, there are some teams where you tell yourself, we need to grind results at the end of the day.
You have to grind results at the end of the day. And being a former player, having been in that position, do you have moments where you're just like, wish I was younger?
Yeah, if it's there, if it runs in the blood, you always feel like, okay, fine. If I was maybe, 5 years younger than I am today, or maybe if it was 7 years back, I would have maybe there, because it's something that I know. I've been around the place for, over 16 years playing top flight football, which is a milestone. And when you see the guys playing, you have got the attachment. You feel like, I need to be part of it, or maybe I can go in or maybe, try and do better. But, age cannot allow anymore. And here we are. But, that connection with football, whether you're sitting there or maybe at the grandstand, but mostly when you're on the bench, you're so close, few meters away from the touch line, you feel like I need to take part. I need to be there.
And how did it come about for you to be Cape United team manager? What were the conversations like? Was it a headhunt? What happened? What were the circumstances?
Truly speaking, Yvonne, ever since I've been a footballer, all I've been telling myself is I've seen, the trend which a lot of soccer players, former players, take to most of them, they always want to be coaches. Mm-hmm. And I've told myself, no, not all of us can be soccer coaches. Not all of us are talented or maybe can do it. I've always looked in the managerial area, and you look, especially when it comes to former athletes, a few that you find, especially in management, So this is something that I had, ever since. And it so happened, an opportunity arose, with Mvurwi United. They were looking for a team manager. And, one of my best friends asked me to, just try my luck and to, apply for the job. fortunate enough, I got the job and I started at Kwekwe United. Somewhere where, I would say, I learned a lot. It was not easy, and even up to now, you can understand the financial difficulties Kwekwe United are going through. Players, when players are not paid, when there is no, when you are not financially stable, it's difficult, to manage such a kind of a situation. And having all those things week in, week out, they made me strong. And all I've been thinking when I was at Kwekwe United is like, well, even my former team is not doing pretty well. Quite a lot of things that are happening there. Coaches are coming and changing. I was just eyeing that opportunity that it will come once where also maybe, in the managerial, they could be or might be some shiftings and so forth. And it so happened when the previous coaching staff was, sacked from the job, and the coming in of Ian. We have been in constant touch ever since. We have been talking, and a lot has been happening between the two of us. We have got a group, of former players, where we have been discussing quite a lot of things, how Caps are doing, wherever you are. All these teams that we are at the end of the day, it's like we are at work, but at Caps United, it's at home.
Yes.
You feel as at home. So it so happened that when Ian was offered the job, he also contacted me because already I was active, at Kwekwe United. I was the Kwekwe United team manager by then. So it was just an issue of, moving from Kwekwe United to Caps United.
And was it like to not taking anything away from Kwekwe United? You obviously did a good job. You served them. But I think it's a different vibe when you are at a team that you personally also played for. The feeling of coming home, of being in a space that is very familiar.
For me, Yvonne, maybe, it's something that I'm cherishing a lot at the moment. Playing for Caps United for 9 years, captaining the team for 2 seasons, and now I'm coming in as a team manager. It tells a lot, or maybe it shows a lot, and even to the guys who are around Caps United, from the president of the team, the executive. It shows a lot of confidence that they have in me. I look down and maybe, trace it back, maybe the leadership qualities that has always been in me during my days. It was not even easy, being a Caps United captain at that time. There were a lot of guys, good players with a lot of character, players who also, are very mischievous. And that also helped me up until where I am right now. And that thing, to me, is helping me a lot, and I feel so connected with Caps United more than any other team.
And I feel like in conversations with Caps United President Managerial, he seems to really appreciate and want former Caps players to take up spaces. Because we look at even the setup right now, you've got your Ian Bakalas, Alois Bunjira, yourself, players that have been, they've even been previous people, who've been at Caps United before. And how does that help, especially when you're now, when things get really tough like now, to be able to be in a changing way? Ian Bakala is, Witness Mkhuli is, yourself, you've been there. Yeah. You understand the club and you love the club.
Yeah, Yvonne, it helps a lot. The outside world might not see it. It's something that happens in the dressing room. When your surrounding very well, it's like your house, your home. If a visitor comes, this is how I take it. I'm looking at the players. We have been at Caps United for so many years. Even when the chips were down, even when things were going on well. So we had a lot of situations that we went through, during even our time. There were times where we would go for 2, 3, 4 months, without salaries, without winning bonuses. And so to speak, especially the 2004 that people always talk about, I think for us financially it was the toughest. But, the outside world could not see that. So these are things now, when it comes to Caps United, we are there in the dressing room. We have seen it all. Things are not going on well. This is where you come in now. Those guys, when they're looking at you, they've got someone whom they can cherish and tell at the end of the day, okay, guys, look here. We have been through even worse than what you're going right now. And when you speak, they listen. You know, it's different from maybe someone who is, when he's speaking, he gives maybe a different example from another team. But when we are talking of the same house where they are in. Guys, we have seen it in here. This is nothing maybe at the end of the day. Can you just soldier on? You know, there's always tomorrow. You know, so all those things, when you are a former player, you know, it's simple, and or maybe it's easy for players to actually understand it, because you're actually telling or maybe pouring out from an inner feeling, something that they also understand. And you know, when they are looking at most of us who are in that dressing room, we are more like legends, ambassadors, you know, of Cape United. So we resemble a lot of things when we are in the dressing room, and it becomes easy, you know, to manage the dressing room. You look at, I'll take you back, look at the time when Lloyd was there. You know, why Lloyd would manage some situations. It's because he's one of those players. He's one of them, though now he's heading the whole technical team. But you'll find that most of his talk, when he refers not to his own individual prowess, but to what the team has been doing. You know, like these days, all we're just talking about, it's unfortunate we don't have too many cups that we play for. But this has been our wish. We're always talking, guys, this team, it has got a nickname.
The Cup Kings.
The Cup Kings, you know. So when you talk about all those things, it's something that you don't want to be raised. You always want that to stay intact. So when you talk, you're talking from a standing position where everyone can just understand simply, because you have been there and they are looking at a person who has also, you know, walked it through. So sometimes it helps, especially when you're having former players around. Even, you know, you look at, even in Europe, you know, I always look at a team like Manchester United, when they had Ole and Carrick. Look at the team, how it was like, you know, everything. It was shaping. And those guys who came in that dressing room, they had so much respect for the two greats. You know, it's world over. It's something that you cannot run away from, but it also comes back to you as an individual. Yeah, right, fine. I've been in Cape's legend, a former player for some time. You also need to humble yourself. When you're talking, it's not everything that you need to give example as yourself. Like myself, okay, fine, maybe I'm talking, guys, maybe you're not scoring goals. I used to score these goals. You know, they will not take it that way.
They'll be like, Tang.
You see,
But
this is football. At the end of the day, when they are looking at me, obviously they know there is a former striker.
But is there an added layer to the fact that having a former player who played at the level and who made an impact the way that Ian Bakala made? Like if you're a Cape United player and you're coming in and it's Ian Bakala, I mean, anyone who grew up, watched him or heard about him, does that also help when you're handling like players, or even the respect that players give when a coach is of that caliber in terms of what they did as a player?
It helps a lot, Yvonne. But, one thing for sure, something that I've also realized, you know, most of these guys, or maybe this generation that we're talking about,
they don't know.
They didn't maybe see as much, you know, playing. It was not like how it is right now. Those days, maybe you have one game, you know, being screened at ZTV. They never had that opportunity maybe to watch some of these former greats. So it takes also time. To, you know, when you're talking to them, you know, to understand what exactly, unlike these days, you know, where, you know, you can watch maybe 2, 3, 4 games a day, you know, be it in Europe or be it here, domestic football, where it's on ZTV, it's on ZTN, it's, you know, you'll find that even the generation that is watching football right now, they know quite a lot of the current players, unlike the yesterday. So, yes, it comes to those guys maybe who have been, you know, following football maybe at their tender age. Because we are talking of guys who we are maybe having 20 plus age difference, you see. But they know, because somehow they came across, or somehow they had.
So what do you think as limited Chikafa? What would you say you bring on the table in the changing room as a former player?
Yeah,
Yvonne, at an individual level, this is what I bring on the table as limited.
Yeah. Okay. At Cape United at the moment, right? It's like a policy, you know, that we are having, which maybe Coach Ian introduced. As the team manager, it is my responsibility as well, to have, one-on-one chats with players, visit players even at their homes. I have to know where the player stays. We need to be in constant touch each and every time, maybe even over the phone. If time allows, we visit. And when we are in camp, it is my mandate now, when we are done with team talk, the coaches mostly, they walk away. I remain behind with the guys. We have got our own talk. Now it's them and me. There are players when you are talking, the leader. There are some things that they cannot let out or maybe try to air out. But when I'm there, when I'm in the dressing room, I'm more like their friend. I'm not that too old. I'm just someone who is just friendly. And I've always seen it when I'm talking to them, they are kind of like free, in expressing. You look at a player like Tanaka Kante, he's one person who talks and he doesn't, boil up, with things inside him. When things are not well, we are there, we are seated. Guys, the coaches have spoken. At the end of the day, this is your career. This is Cape United at the end of the day. That's why there's a badge always on the left side. There's somewhere there at the heart. You need to feel it, So these are things that I've also managed to, bring at Cape United. When we came in, the team was down there. It really wanted, some kind of psychological morale boost. And it's unfortunate that maybe at the time that we arrived at Cape United, we have never had psychologists maybe in camps and so forth. But it's also our mandate as a manager. In management, you need to manage some situations. How to psych the guys, how to talk to them. And in the dressing room, this is what I've done. And this is what I'm doing. When we win together. When we lose, we are losing together. But at the end of the day, I've seen this helping it sometimes. But a player is a player. At the end of the day, he has got what he has got in the back of his mind.
You can only do so much.
He's the master when he gets there.
So, if I'm not knowledgeable and I want to know what exactly is the day-to-day responsibility of a team manager, what are some of the things that fall under your portfolio? Yeah,
well, as a manager, like I just indicated, Yvonne, it's not only on the day of the game or maybe during training sessions. It comes back to knowing, understanding your background, where you're coming from, because football, it starts at home. Things has to be well faced where you're coming from for you to concentrate, for you to embark on your duty fully and committed. So, as a manager, you have got the responsibility, one, to look, even if you've got your welfare manager, you need to look at the welfare of the players. That's one. Secondly, as a team manager, you are the link between the players, the coach, and the executive. What do I mean? There are things that happens around, around the team. There's something that maybe a player cannot go straight, maybe to the CEO of the club or maybe straight to the president. You need to go through the channels. Now, if the executives speak, I'm their spokesperson. I need to relate the message as it is. When the players speak, I also need to relate the message as it is, maybe to the technical team, up to the last person who is maybe the president of the team. So you find that at the end of the day, you have got so many aspects at the end of the day to look into. It's not only on the day of the game where you're just seated there making substitutions, running there and giving the referee. And you should have done a lot, throughout the week. Which are these some of the things, we have got kids, we've got families, maybe a child is not feeling well at home. It's a duty also of a manager to visit, see how is the situation, anything that is needed, any form of help from the club and so forth. So you are an interlink between the players, the executive and the technical team. Gone are those days where a manager, you're just there by the stadium or maybe by the training ground, just see that the players have trained, they're finished, off you go. Yes. So all those things, they fall under the manager's duties and roles.
So how's been your spell? How's been your stay at Cape United as a manager? Now we're talking about as a manager. We'll talk about your playing career.
Yeah, so far so good. I think I was received well. That's one thing that I like most when I came to Cape United. I was received with much respect, and with what is happening right now, I think I still feel connected with Cape United. I have got that sense of belonging. I know that I'm at a safer place, at a safer environment. This is Cape United. We were joking 2 weeks ago. When we lost to Yada.
Yeah.
We looked at ourselves. We had almost 40 minutes in the dressing room, and we were talking. And we joked over the situation. We said, if it was 10 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago, fans would be waiting for us outside.
Yes. I was like, I had a time when I knew if I'm going to a Caps match, Shaba kwa Shiba. And I would wait because they would wait.
Yeah.
Every home game, they were waiting.
You see? So we were like talking, and I said, you know why maybe we are getting away with these guys or these fans. It's only that they respect us, that we are Cape United, right?
But weren't you surprised after that? I don't know if it's the Yada game or which game. There's a game you lost recently where you came out of the changing rooms and the fans were by the bus singing and celebrating despite the fact that you'd lost, because I felt like sometimes fans don't just complain, but sometimes they can appreciate. Would we lost? Yes,
true, because Yvonne, fans, when they come to the stadium, they always want to see value for their money. Yes, you can lose, but you lose with dignity. You lose playing better football. They appreciate the applause. But there are times where or maybe see that we didn't maybe put a shift in whatever that we were doing. That's what makes fans angry. But so far, I think I've seen maybe a few games where the guys didn't really put that extra effort. Yes, it's there. Games cannot be the same. There are times where you get it all wrong. Maybe from the start, maybe from training. Like I've always said, football is not only about the day of the game. It comes down to how you have prepared, how the week had gone, and what were you doing at the end of the day. Because as a footballer, you always need to remain focused. Anything that puts you away or sways you around, it affects the mentality. But it keeps United as it is right now. Like I just said, when it comes to the fans, I'm also seeing that connection. The fans, they are connected with the team. I've been watching Cape United games of late. I've not been seeing those huge crowds and so, but it's now happening. You look at the city and you feel now those are our people. Those are there for us. And it also gives that confidence and that extra power, the extra push. That we cannot disappoint at the end of the day. These people, they've come to watch us, and they really need to see good football at the end of the day. We might not pick all the 3 points, but what is the product that we are giving them at the end of the day? I think that's what matters most. So you find at the end of the day, it's not always maybe where they are disgruntled and so forth. At times they appreciate, like you just said, they were there singing. It's not like we want to see such kind of things, or maybe we are in our comfort zone. We feel for them before we even feel for ourselves, that we cannot go for weeks without, winning games, because that's what they come for. Why? Seeing their team, watching their team winning, putting a very good shift in their work. So as of now, like I just said, at Cape United, I think I'm enjoying my job. I'm enjoying my work.
Must be fun. But like now, I want us to go back in time. Where was Limited born? Where did you go to school? And then when you started playing football?
Yeah, well, Yvonne, I was born 4 March 1981 in Mvurwi.
Umbuka is in the building.
Yes.
Same area where I stayed.
That's my hometown. Playing football, I would say, like you just asked, we are talking of maybe, where it really started, I'm talking of, when you are playing maybe the lower division, which is a Division 1, which is just below the Premier League. I started in Mvurwi when I was playing for Mvurwi United. That was when I was doing Form 3.
I used to watch Mvurwi United a lot. And like, anytime there was a juror, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there were times, obviously, with Marine and
Yeah.
But majority of the times.
So, I was doing Form 3. Okay, I was at Holy Rosary.
Holy Rosary?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Primary is the Holy Rosary as well?
No, primary I did at Forester A. That's where I went for grade 1 to grade...
Forester A, what were you doing when if you're in Guru and did the Holy Rosary?
My father was a farm manager at a farm. Mandindindi.
Okay.
Yes.
It makes sense.
Yes. So he was a farm manager there. So now that's the school that it was nearby. That's a Forester A primary school. That's where I did my primary. Then came to Holy Rosary for my secondary school.
Okay.
Yeah. So now when I was in Form 3, that's when I broke into Mvurwi United team. I was not playing for Mvurwi United team. But it happened so funny that, when Mvurwi United was playing, we used to play with a lot of teams like in Bindura. That's where there was Bindura United, Zupkarare, Trojan Mine. So we played against Bindura United. That day I was on top of my game. Yes, sir. So it so happened there was a guy by the name Chisale. He was like a scouter. He was scouting players from Match Central, in Division 1, bring them here to Harare for teams like Zupco Harare, Sporting Lions. He was well connected. So that time, I was in Form 3. He approached me. He approached my father. But now, fathers being fathers those days, they didn't want to hear about these, So he didn't allow me. The guy wanted to transfer me from Holy Rosary to Hemen Kamai in Bindura, so that I play for Bindura United.
Okay.
For me to come to Harare, to Zupco Harare, because it's like Zupco Harare and Bindura United, they were like sister clubs. Bindura United used to feed Zupco Harare, Yen Harare, with players. So for me to come to Zupco Harare, I had to go through Bindura United. But so it didn't happen. Then following year when I was doing Form 4, soon after writing my O-level, he took me to Bindura. I actually trained with Bindura United for just 1 week. He brought me to Harare. I came for trials with Zupco Harare 1 week. And I had not to go back to Bindura. Zupco Harare, that's when they signed me.
What division were they in?
They were in Division 1 as well, Northern Region.
Okay.
Yeah. That was 2000. That year, I didn't play much for Zupco Harare. Then I went to Sporting Lions. I was bought by Sporting Lions. Yes, for...
Money.
Yeah. And by then, Sporting Lions, I really wanted promotion. They wanted
the Scotland, the FC Platinum of yesterday.
Yes, that was the time. Then I joined Sporting Lions because they'd missed promotion the previous year. That's the year Seco Cement was promoted. So Sporting Lions, they finished on second. So that was the year they really wanted to be promoted. That's when I joined Sporting Lions.
Sporting Lions.
Well, life here, how it is. Like, I wouldn't want even to go there. Well, that's when I joined Sporting Lions. That was in 2001. We got promoted with Sporting Lions. unfortunately, or maybe the funny part of it, when I was playing for Sporting Lions, Real Stars was after me. They would send people come and watch our games. They were looking for me, like their scouters. Soon after gaining promotion, I was taken on board by Real Stars. I went to Blawa. That was
one with a Managerial go flow single flow so was tatarika my clubs mwana ngo bo Mvurwi over via Pindura via Harare
and I was in Blawa at Real Stars. That's when the Premier League football journey started. That
but
was in 2000.
Did you not have how was the transition? Because aunanguva munhu uri kutamba kwa kuma division chakadai and then now you're in the big leagues. Did you adjust well, or did it take them time to give you a starting lineup place?
Yvonne, I think for me, what made me strong, even when I came to Cape United, is those movements that I'm talking about. From home, you're a young boy, you are going to where you don't have friends, where you don't have relatives. That's in Bindura. You need to cope with what is around there. You make your own friends, you make your own relatives. Within a time, you are thrown in the deep end. That's in Harare. You are 20 years old at that time. You don't have friends. You don't know Harare. You don't know anything about it. For you, to have that understanding and stability, you also need to make friends quickly, get into all these things. Within a time, I'm shifting from the capital to another
different culture, different language.
You see, that's
different part of the country. Yeah.
So for me, that really made me strong. You see, when I went to Bulawayo, I couldn't even understand, talk, speak, understand in the valley. But within 2 weeks, it was the first thing that you need to do when you get into a certain place or country. You need to understand the language. You need to learn the language because you need to communicate with. And the funny part of it, I was so young. The only language that I would speak, it was Shona and English. And when I went to Real Stars, at Real Stars that time, they would give you a job. I was now working as a clerk at railways. So you are now working with, elder people and so forth.
But it was worth it. You not leaving, waiting until you finish Form 4 to then move to Pindura. Because Shai Sofamba say for you to be a clerk if you hadn't finished your O-levels.
Wow. I did finish my O-level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You remember initially you had said there was this deal which would have taken you to another school in another part. And you never know because I had a conversation with Ndai Samanja where he had the same scenario where he left Pindura, came to Harare, was learning Kuvainona through Bora.
Yeah.
And then you're now earning money and then, education becomes like, it's good again.
Yeah, this is one thing that also, athletes or maybe footballers need to understand and try and strike a balance between the two, education and football. Because as much as you are talented, you also need that a little bit of it so that, it helps you wherever you go, a bit of some education. You just need to go to school, not just only the sake of just going it, but you also need to give it all the same way you are maybe, doing when it comes to your football life. For me, it helped me quite a lot. I don't want to lie. Maybe it's because I was just a brilliant student. Maybe I'm just saying maybe. So for me, all these integrations and so forth, they didn't actually take time for me. I would suit in wherever that I'll go. Like I was just saying, when I went to Bulawayo, it didn't take me time, to learn the valley. I think in a month or so, I would, maybe it was difficult for me those first days to speak, but I would understand, listen, know everything. Because the people that I was serving, I was working with, there were elder people whom also, when you're talking like you're speaking in English, it's like, you want to feel yourself and so forth. So you just need to understand and appreciate their language as well, so that you are not the odd one out. You feel so much loved and embraced. It helped me a lot when I went to
How long were you at Real Stars?
Just 1 year, one season.
And then you When did you move next?
That's the very year that, if you remember, we played the ZPC Unit Cup, Real Stars and Mvurwi United. We were all being relegated, but we were playing. That's the same year. That's 2002. So when the team got relegated, and by then I had already a pre-contract with Cape United. Twine Puri used to come to Bulawayo, to Harare, watching me play. So I had a deal already, in the pipeline.
But now this is now the big boys. You swam with the money boys, Sporting Lions. You've gone to Bulawayo, and then Cape United is like the big boys.
Yeah, that was.
And this is 2002.
2002. Yeah, that was a challenge. Honestly speaking, for me, how it has been a challenge. We if you are talking of Zim football, you are talking of Dynamos, you are talking of Highlanders, you are talking of Cape United. No two ways about it, like it or not, and. We are talking of way back 2002. You look at the players who were there around, and you are coming in. You don't have that name. You don't have that background. All you have is you and what you have done previously or maybe before. It's something that they are looking at. Oh, okay. There he was, top goal scorer, Real Stars. But I was a little boy. I've been coming to the big boys.
And also, I think, did you have experience of even going to the matches? Because remember, you grew up in Mvurwi. Did you have an opportunity to Stadium?
I grew up in a family which loved football so much, especially my father. Yeah, he would come with me to Harare. I remember a game that I came to watch Cape United. For me, playing for Cape United, it was like a dream come true. In our family, my mom, my dad, myself, we were all Cape United fans. Like my dad, he used to love Cape United that much. I think, in my tender age, I've come to Harare, I think about 3-4 times that I've come to Rufaro to watch Cape United playing. Yeah. With my dad.
Africa Unity Square. Sakataiuya. Don't a picture of Africa Unity Square. Fountain. I have lots of pictures here. At least you are coming for the football.
Yeah. I came with my dad then, so yeah. Being at Cape United, it was not easy. And to make matters worse, the very first year that I joined Cape United, we came a lot of us. That's the time that I came along with, when Witness Milo Spiri joined from Wange, Brian Badza joined from Motor Action. I think we were about 6 or 7 of us. And what made that year so complicated, Cape United almost got relegated, if you still remember. And it's like, we are the new guys here. And the last game, to make matters worse, it was against Highlanders.
Sure.
In Gwanzura. And all we wanted was a draw. And I remember that game, that day, it was horrible. Thank God we survived the relegation on the last day. What is happening right now, I'm always thinking, with all these methods, the things, how, I'm now thinking, hey, are we not yet towards those days, 2003?
Deja vu.
So I think that was the toughest year for me at Cape United, the 2003. Well, came 2004, everything changed. We were there. Maybe we announced ourselves in a bad way 2003, but 2004, I think from 2004 until I left Cape United, 2010 for me, it was a journey, well traveled, well spent at Cape United as a player.
So you've played for ZPC, Haumai.
Yes.
And there was a time where you battled health complications.
Yeah.
Take us through that. Like how did you find out you had this condition, and how did you deal with it? Because
Yeah.
it was threatening your career.
Yeah, that really, it was a big setback for me. That was 2011, when I joined Chicken Inn. That was during preseason. You know how preseason is, how demanding it is. We're going through our paces. The first 2 weeks, the intensity is just high. So my heart couldn't just cope, and I started to feel some pains, side pains, chest pains and so forth. That's when I went for a checkup, and it was realized that I had a heart ailment. Heart yangu yanga yakazara mvura yaiflota pamusoro pemvura, so I would have my palpitations, and heart yangu yaibita, like in a second. So I went for treatment. I stayed in hospital. I think that was the worst time of my life. As far as health-wise is concerned, I stayed in hospital for a month and a half. In hospital, doctors trying to find a way to, navigate it, see it through. The operation was even, asked of it, and thank God, my physician that time who attended to me, he refused to have that operation done on me, because he was saying through his career and his research, only 2 people had survived after such an operation. So he devised another treatment for me, which helped me a lot. That was to drain the water through the abdominal.
It must have been traumatic.
Yeah, not really. I don't know, but then
I hope you found Jesus. Because moments like that, you can only look to divine intervention. Like, what sort of person were you? Do you think you were you strong? Were you broken? Were you hopeful? What sort of limited were you during that whole process?
Truly speaking, Yvonne, I wouldn't want to think that I was traumatized, or maybe I was just at easy. To be honest with you, I didn't know what it means. I didn't know what it means, honestly speaking. For me, it was like another disease, or maybe another illness or so forth. I was so relaxed. Even, those people would come see me, visit me in hospital, how chatting with you, having fun, and, all sorts of stuff on visiting hours and so forth. When you go, then I know I'm in hospital. I'm waiting for my treatment until the day that I'm discharged. I'll go back to my family and be with my family. For me, the only thing that was in my mind was, will I go back to something that I love most? Will I play football again? Because the doctor, after the physician, after all this, he just, told me no football anymore. And I was like, oh, that's the end of it. So this is how the whole career is cut short.
At what age were you at that moment?
2011.
2011, that would make you, let's do 81, 19, that's 30, right? Around 30.
Something like that.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I still feel it. I still have got the fit. I still want to play. But, well, if the doctors are saying that what is important for me is my health. But the way I love football, I still kept on telling myself, no, I think God will make a miracle. Wonders shall be seen. That was, to be honest with you, Yvonne, I'm a strong character. For me and football, it's, we are inseparable. It's something that you cannot take away from me. I was hopeful each and every day that one day I'll come back to the field. And it happened. The whole of 2011, I was just home, trying to just look after myself. 2012, at the end of 2011, I started feeling it, in my nerves. I know I'm okay. I don't think the dog, got it right that I can never play again. I started working on my own, going to the gym. running every morning. 5 o'clock, I'm up, I'm running. I would make a program for myself because I didn't want to be pushed, you see, because I would want to see how much my heart can take. Okay. So I would run on my own, starting with a 2.5 kilometer to 3, 4. I'll tell you, I took a 45 kilometer run. That was on December 2011. It was 17. From home, Waterfalls, to Chitungwiza, back to town. And I started off from town, home, Waterfalls, walking.
What were you doing? Like, were you trying to prove to yourself that
I
I'm
just
healthy?
wanted,
you wanted to feel?
I just wanted to feel myself.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, I had so much belief that I'm well. I'll tell you what really happened. 2012, at the beginning of 2012, I said no. Maybe I just need to start lowly, right? I need to look for a Division 1 team.
I'm with my guy.
So that's when I went to Masvingo. There was a team that was called Setheo. It was an ambitious team. It really wanted to be promoted. We took a lot of seasoned guys who have seen Premier League for some time and so forth. That's the team that I went and joined. And I'll tell you, I went there. I was also appointed a captain. Those responsibilities again, they started pushing me.
Mpengazi. Captain Munaba. Munaba kumbotonga achashaya achinzo. I guess it was experience and leadership qualities, eh?
Yeah, a lot. Football taught me quite a lot of things, and football built me in a very strong way. Like if you can see, especially my football journey, most of the time I was nomadic. I was never. The only time that I've been here in Harare with my family is the time that I played for Cape United. The entire years I've been playing 400 plus kilometers away from home. From Masvingo 2012 in Eastern Region, I finished as the second top goal scorer. Then the late coach Gishantin was coaching Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So Masvingo and Triangle just close by. He took me on board. That was 2013. Triangle. Again, that's when I came back into football, came back into Premier League football via Triangle. That year, I went there. I was the vice captain. The very year that I went there. There was William Apfumo, David Sengu, Leo Graujone, the big names which were there. And I finished as the top goal scorer for the club, 30 in the league. That's 2013. There, ZPC Kariba was being promoted. ZPC Kariba got promoted in 2013. Now, at the beginning of 2014 season, Socha Minika took me to ZPC Kariba. But by then, when I went to ZPC Kariba, to be honest with you, that's the very year I wanted to just hang. Because all I wanted to hang the boots after playing in the top flight again. So it's like I've achieved it with Triangle. So I didn't want to, push anymore or play anymore. But Socha Minoka persuaded me. No, come along. And by then age also, I was, I think, when I played for ZPC, I was 36 years old. That's 2014. And I said, I think this is the time for me to rest. And said, no, just come, help me out. Only 1 year, this year only. And I think it was one of the best seasons that I ever had.
At that age?
Yes. I enjoyed my football.
But did you feel like maybe you enjoyed your football more after your experience, having been sick and having laid in bed thinking, will I ever play again, and hearing all these gloom and doom, you never play again. Did you feel like maybe you enjoyed your football more after?
Sure.
Or you appreciated it more?
Yeah, I enjoyed my football, I think, during that time. You know why, Yvonne? After going through all this, I say to myself, I no longer have anything to prove. I think I've proved everything. I was bedridden for a long time. I rose. I've been out of football. I came back. And this is what I've done. What else do I need to prove? So, to me, it also made me relax. I would just play football for fun. And when you're playing football for fun, when you don't have pressure, I think that's when you do your best. And the best of me came out that year in 2014 with ZPC Kariba. I think it was my best season ever. Or maybe during my twilight career, towards the end of my career. I think that's the year that I enjoyed football more, 2014. My first time, to be on the calendar, run up, scooping everything, we had the goalkeeper of the season, the top goal scorer of the season, Dauda is the best player, Sochamunuka is the best coach. So with ZPC, we had everything. 2014.
As the last game, Chicha Haiti.
Yeah, he keeps you. Yeah.
Let me tell you a story. So, the Friday, of the matches, right? It looks like what is a ZPC Kariba. It's done deal.
What?
I met Mdara Joro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said to me, "You've won." You won. Usaende ugame reji ZPC. Title uri kuwina udimari. Ndikati hamdara no. Hakuna zvakadaro inde ndiri pagwanzura.
Yeah.
Ndobari kutaura title. Take me through that. What happened? Because you must have gone into that game thinking the title is sealed. It is ours.
I'll tell you now. From experience, we've seen it happening. We knew. Okay, if you remember very well, when we played the second game from second from last, that was against Dynamos. We beat Dynamos National Sports 2-1, and we're supposed to play our last game, Cape United, that other week.
Yes,
but the games were cancelled for a reason I don't know. That I knew that something is cooking. I told the guys, and we all knew. Now, what was the break for? It's only a game that we need to play. And, we were at, the momentum, the feeling, after, beating Dynamos in national sports. If we had played that game, if we had played that game against Cape United, over that weekend, I'll tell you, it could have been another story.
But having grown supporting Cape United and loving Cape United, I was sitting in the stands. I couldn't understand, honestly, even up to this day, I don't understand what they were fighting for.
Yeah.
Because they really seemed like they wanted it.
They were like
but
wounded lions.
You're like,
we were shocked. We were shocked.
Hamusi mutaito chase, hamusi kurelegetwa. Awada wina title, mauya makaisonge ameno. Rejuvenated and just wanting to win.
Okay. Yvonne, what happens, especially in football, you also need to understand some of these things. Well, players will move around. Okay. There are players who had played for Dynamos. And there are players who, even now, they're playing for Cape United, but their heart is a Dynamos. They support Dynamos somewhere. Or they grew up supporting Dynamos. If anything that is happening right now is to do in favor of Dynamos, that person or maybe that player can do it indirectly, knowing that I'm not doing this for myself here, but I'm doing it for my what? For the club that I what? The club that I support. I'll tell you, for me, I think that was the mentality. You look at the Cape United team, the composition of the team, most of the players, they had come from Dynamos to Cape United. You look at the guy who was between the posts, that was Tafaz Wadube. That's the very year that he came from Dynamos. There were quite a lot of guys who were there. So for me, and even Cape United being Cape United, you know, ZPC Kariba, it was just a team that had got promoted. Possibly we could have been the first team in history.
Yes.
Get promoted and win.
And you'd gone on a crazy unbeaten run.
You see. So all those things, they run, in players, in executive, people's veins. How could it be? What kind of a picture will it give to our football? No, it cannot be ZPC. Rather, let it be Dynamos.
But were you not shocked? Like, at what moment in the game were you like, we are screwed? Like,
when we considered the third goal, for me, when we consider the first, it's still that belief is ZPC Kariba will crawl back.
Yes.
We have done it several times. Mm-hmm. Even when considered the second, I started to look around, see how the guys, the body language of the guys, and we could just look us, straight in each other's eyes, and we were like, now we need to face the reality. It's now slipping away. We need to put some acts. And again, you will see, okay, I'll tell you something that had happened earlier. When the coach was, coming up with the team, okay, us as senior players, we saw there was a kind of an element of, what would I say? Kamakaiga guti bora itaita say tapedza. From the coach's point of view, we approached the coach, the Socha there, and said, coach, why can't we just go all out the team that has been playing? This game is not going to be an easy game. All we just want here is just a draw. We just need a point. We don't need to go out there and play an open game like we need 3 points. It's going to be difficult for us. Because if you look at that day, we had a lot of, the coach changed the team. We had 2 main creative midfielders. You see, we didn't have much balance because all we just wanted was to close shop for us to just get a point.
But was it not maybe based on the reflection of the season that Cape United had?
Yes,
that
that
he
also,
thought it's an, because I personally thought it was a given.
Yeah, it also gave us also a false impression as well. Given Cape United was not doing well at that time, and they like just said they had nothing to play for. So, but knowing football, some of us, we have seen it before, and we could try to reason up with the coach. So we came to that game. I want to be honest with you. There was no unity within the team. There were a lot of despondency. Players were disgruntled. Why now all of a sudden? And also, we knew that this game is going to be difficult for us. But when we considered the third game, for me, I said, this is now the end. But what happened when they scored the third? Just barely a minute after scoring, I scored the consolation. And now when it was 3-1, now we also had the hope and the belief. And 5 minutes down the line, we scored another one. That was now 3-2. And we said, now it's game on. All we just wanted was just a goal to just cancel it off. That was the toughest time ever.
But what happens in a game like that when it's a decider, when you go to halftime? Do you hear about what's happening elsewhere, or they make sure you don't hear anything about what's happening on the other side?
Well, it depends with the magnitude of the game, Yvonne. There are times where now you, like on a calculator, or maybe one ear is here, the other one is out there. What is happening there and what is happening here? Those games, like especially the deciders, they are very tricky. Like I said, even when we were, talking off air, we spoke about, character. You need players with character, not just good players, but players who can, handle situations, who knows what is now needed in this kind of a situation, in this scenario. When in a dressing room, things are not going on well. The only thing that you need mostly to focus on is how to turn the corner. That's one thing that should come into mind. Don't reflect much on what you've done. The first 45 minutes is gone. The moment you dwell much on it, it's going to affect the next 45 minutes. You need to quickly bear it. Tell yourself, I've done this and I can still do it. I've got the other 45 minutes to make amends. That's what a strong character, a strong player can do. Once you fail to do that, I've seen a lot of coaches in the dressing room. Like nowadays, it's very rare when you get into the dressing room at halftime, hearing the coach addressing what had happened. Most of them now, they are focusing on what we are going to do. Because that is what is important. What had happened already is something that you cannot fix. You fix it by going there and doing the right thing. So now it's all about what I'm going to do the next 45 minutes. So if possible, your eyes, ears should be in the next 45 minutes.
So how did you deal with the heartbreak? To be so close. You guys were not only close, like we said, you were not only close to winning the title.
Yeah.
It was historic.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about right now a team like Scotland being one of the title chasers. We saw Moors in the first half of the season. But you guys could have been the first ones get in the league, win it in the first season. Game rapera. Maluza title.
It was so heartbreaking. It was devastating. Those are moments as players, you need to write some piece of history, somewhere, somehow. Those things that I needed, especially in anyone's career, that when you reflect, those are the things that you talk about. And missing it in such a fashion, it was not well. But being players at the end of the day, there's another day to fight.
But like limited, there's another day to fight. But unfortunately, the reality of Zimbabwean football is the next season the team will be different.
Yeah, and that's what even happened. You look at that
because
team.
I also feel like even for Dennis Dauda, guys that had crazy seasons, there were so many names in that ZPC Kariba team that did so well. And once you don't get it, the next season's things change.
And it really changed. 2015 season, wow. But myself, I knew that the 2015 season is not going to be the best season ever. This would have been ours. So 2015 is going to be something else. That's when I made a move to Halmai.
But I still don't get how you are still making these moves and Muna chiga jerufu.
Well,
you have such character, you have such heart. And if I'm a youngster and I'm watching this, what would you want them to learn about from your journey, especially that dark period and then having to come back, having the belief to come back and coming back and doing it? You talk about getting on the calendar after having gone through something so traumatic.
Well, it's not easy, Yvonne, but there are some things that you learn, from other people. Okay. For me, my journey, maybe what I would want maybe some other youngsters maybe to learn is, one thing for sure is you just need to have to believe in yourself. You have self-belief. That's one thing for sure, that, it's over until it's over. When you are called by the heavens. But while at least you are still feeling it, you have got the legs and your full body, you just need to believe in yourself. For me, maybe I would say I have always grown up in a family where, things were not that rosy, you see. So I've learned a lot of, life survival skills. I've never seen even my father, accepting even a defeat, even in his own life. Even when things were not going well, as a family and so forth, he will still assure us that, tomorrow everything is going to be okay. And you will do that. If it means fending for us, you fend for his family. And that also, translated to me. It was just something that was also in me, that I grew up a fighter. Everything that I would do, I would fight. I would tell myself, Limited, you don't have a friend, you don't have a relative here. Whatever that you're going to do, you are the first one to do this for the family.
For the family.
And the whole clan, if not maybe Zinzarese.
You're the Joseph of your family.
You see.
You're the one Argu movies. But looking at that journey, At what point in what year did you finally say, Limited, there's nothing left in the tank, it is time?
Okay, my time at ZPC Kariba, it's another team that when I look back at my, football journey, apart from Cape United, ZPC Kariba is more like my second home. Mm-hmm. Why? Like I said, when I joined ZPC Kariba, I was 36 years old. Mm-hmm. The trend in Zim football, maybe the understanding, Yvonne, kana watu ngusvika 30 but inini I was embraced, I was loved by Kariba community. When I went there, they saw a role model in me, and it also gave me that willpower to keep on pushing. I played for ZPC Kariba 2014. I left in 2015 to join Our Mind, but I only played Our Mind for 6 months. I was recalled back. ZPC Kariba was in danger of relegation 2015. And, they were now looking for a messiah. I was recalled. Because when I went to Our Mind, I had a clause in my contract. Now I was a seasoned guy. I would know how to negotiate contracts. Mm-hmm. I would draft even my own contract. The club is giving me their own contract. I'm giving them mine. So that, it's 50-50. At the end of the day, I'm in my twilight zone. I cannot be, kubva ndatobatirwa paclub kuti no, I have to be free. I've got nothing to prove anymore. I'm just there maybe to just try and vafana vanguona kuti pana pazvinotoita kana tine mudhara wayo achiri kudai, what about me? So I had a clause 2015 mid-season I was recalled. That showed me how much
they appreciated you.
Yes, in Kariba. That was 2015. And when I went there, that 2015 mid-season, they gave me a straight 3-year contract. Meaning to say, I was ending my career at Kariba at 40. Look at a player at 40, what will you be still doing? But they gave me that long contract. Just, for security reasons. They wanted me to have that security. That I know I'm secured here. We are not just calling you back to just see us out of this relegation, and we need you, in years to come.
So did you continue in those 3 years?
I did. Look what happened. That was 2016. I played 2016. Come 2017, I knew I could not push anymore. And I still have another year, the 2018 to save. Mari dzemawini bona dzema sign on fee ndakangopuwa yese ka 1 year 3 years yacho in the like, and I was like, well, okay, fine, what's next year? Look guys, this is the situation. And then the whole executive, they said, I know, honestly, you've done all your part. At ZPC, maybe it could have been my first team for me to be the team manager. I refused to be the team manager. Right from play, they just wanted me. That's the time when Coach Sunday Chidzambwa came. They just wanted me from the player to the team manager. And I said, no, I didn't know what a team manager would be doing. And now the same guys that I'm playing with, the next thing I'm their team manager. And I was like, no, wait a bit. I've got some other plans. All they did was, okay, fine. If you want, as a club and as a company, we can send you for coaching courses. And I said, no, that one is better. That's when I attended my first level high.
Level 1?
2017.
Level 2?
2018. And in 2018, I still have got a running contract. When I did my level 2, now that's when they sent me from ZPC Kariba to ZPC Nyati. The team yanga D1. And I went there. Ndaenda ndikuti now ndane tumapepa twangu to level 2 ndakuyanda kunzi assistant coach, because I still had a contract. Everything was well taken care of by ZPC Kariba. So this is a sister company where I would just go and just work, do my job. That's go kunyati. When we started, it was a pre-season. once a footballer was a footballer, it was still in me, just playing around with the guys, in demonstrations, or maybe taking them for their paces. I was with them and they were like, Shamari, panapa wakutotamba panapa. That's 2018, and I was like, tambe football panapa. They said, yeah, panapa to a player coach. And I was registered. I played. And that's when 2019 COVID struck. And I said, no. Zvakwana. Kubva muCovid matombogara no football, no what was not 2020. And I said, no. I think I'm now okay. That's when I hang up.
What an amazing story. Amazing story, because I love, a lot of times on the show we talk about a lot of the negative aspects of Zimbabwean football, and it's so nice to hear a very refreshing story about just finding a club that appreciates you, that takes care of you. And you're very fortunate because you not only had one club, you have a home at ZPC Kariba, you have a home at Caps United,
and Triangle.
And that's the reason why you were even able to be taken back as a manager for Caps United.
Sure.
When you tell a guest it's a 1 hour show, they're like, 1 hour. And we've like that for 1 hour. There's so much in that book called Limited Chikafa that we could have spoken about. We touched some bits, and hopefully you learned some things about his story. For me, the big point that I got is about perseverance and self-belief, because I feel like if you didn't believe in yourself, if you didn't have that perseverance, you would have never seen yourself come back. Kubora. We can credit that. It must be in the Mvurwi water, hey?
Chote.
Baumvukes. Yo, I have such fond memories of Mvurwi.
But it's way back. Yvonne, you walk up over Mvurwi.
No, Mvurwi, but my Sekuru still stayed in Mvurwi, so I would like go. I remember even when I wrote my ZJC, I was in Mvurwi.
Okay.
So I would occasionally go Mvurwi for a while. So, but Pani Makori.
Pani Makori.
Pani Makori, it's been good having you on the show. And on this show, obviously, there's no script. We just talk, we discuss, and I like to give this opportunity to my guests before we go. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that you feel that maybe you want people to know?
Not really, not much, Yvonne, but in whatever that we do, when I spoke, or maybe each time, I'm not ashamed even, to talk about my, lowest times. That's the time when I got sick. I'm proud that, at the end of the day, I shaken it off. Not through my power, each and every day. I would kneel, pray. My prayer was one. Even my wife, always talks about that every day. There's something that you taught me. A prayer should just not be, that long. I would kneel. One word that I would, just a sentence that I would, God, another chance. Can you give me another chance? The only chance that I wanted, and God gave me that another chance. Another chance. I wanted to do it again. I wanted to play again. I felt as if, I have not yet done it, or I still need another chance. So in each and every time that we do, everything that we try, under this sign, we should just know that there's God above there.
There's God. He says he's God, and his life is testament to that. Sure. There is God. And it's very rare for us to be on the show. Hey, this is very close. I had Chido Chizondo on the show.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, Chido wasn't a Mvurwi resident, but she was a voter about Mvukwe. So we count that as being a Mvurwi person. So it's nice. Shout out to you guys in Mvurwi, Sio Guru Township. Kumsoro kuya kwari kumsonedi. Tikada ushka mguruwe. A concession. Takadaro chibendi. The good old days. You know my shops. You know my good.
Yeah, that's Mvurwi for you.
It's been great. It's been great hanging out with you and hearing your story from playing in a small stadium like Mvurwi United, finding yourself playing for a club like Caps United, you know, your ZPC Kariba, this close for you to winning the title. So I can't wait to see you winning the title as a Caps United manager. This season was what maybe like you said, you had a bad first season for Caps United, then next season next season Caps United, how did I say? I don't piece of
see us through next season.
Okay.
Next season, I'll tell you, we are going to be there with them.
To be the Cup Kings again?
Honestly, that needs to be revisited.
So before we go, we'd like to thank Pierre Hart Art and Craft for providing this very, very nice setup you can see here, because we've got 2 Charlie chairs and a Suno table. And what's so amazing about them is the fact that they are also doing their part in ensuring that we have a healthier environment, because their furniture is made from recycled tires, your water bottles, a lot of things, and you can get in touch with them on the numbers that are on your screen. Thank you very much, Limited, for coming on the show. And Limited, I have to be very grateful because he's literally had to squeeze us into his schedule. It's been a day where obviously there's training and all that stuff, and being able to come here and tell your story. Thank you very much. Until the next time when we bring another sporting personality, hoping that you'd learned a lot about Limited Chikafa's story. And also I was very curious about those moments with ZPC Kariba. ZPC Kariba. But until next time we bring another sporting personality. Goodbye.